Hey, it's me, the RWG, AKATheSKay, with another update video, and boy, has a lot happened since the last video we made. I'm not exaggerating when I say that every one of these videos I make, I seem to feel more scared than the last one of what I can and can't say. Why? I'll go into that a bit more later. I also want to do a Q&A video for fun, folks. Leave me some questions here or on Twitter, and let's see if we can't get something together. So before we get started with the point of this video, let's get some general housekeeping out of the way here. Here's a bunch of links on your screen right now, which you can also find in the description of where I am on the internet. I've been bad at keeping all my website communities informed, so this is my attempt to fix some of that. vidme.com is now dead and buried, unfortunately, which means my uncensored videos are now going to be on BitChute. I want to find a website where I can post all my videos as a kind of archive of improvement, but also without the fear constantly that they're going to be removed or whatever. So I'm hoping, praying, BitChute is going to be the website for that. I could also upload videos to Twitch, but well, who the hell watches things on Twitch unless it's live or a big event? I could do it, but it honestly just seems like a waste of time. It doesn't seem like something you guys would want. If I'm wrong, feel free to tell me. YouTube, or rather their master I should say, Google, is turning to, quite honestly, an extremist cult. With all their political purging and destroying people's livelihoods for people who dare to put faith in YouTube to try and make a business for themselves or anything like that. So in their latest change, they've now decided me and thousands, well, countless other channels are no longer important enough to make any money on YouTube and monetize videos. Not that I was making money anyway. So for those who don't know, I'm also on Twitch now. And by the way, somehow I've also become an affiliate on Twitch, which is awesome. I know it's cliche as hell to say this, but it's all thanks to you, the viewers. Thanks to you, it just makes it all worth doing. Because otherwise, well, it's just some weirdo on the net talking to himself, isn't it? I guess it's like that for everyone online who isn't making videos funded by another company. It's strange, but that's just the world we're in now. I'm also going to throw a little bit of shade here now, as unpopular as that might make me, but I see a lot of YouTubers say, oh, they would keep making videos even if no one watched them, but here's a question I want to pose to you all. Have you ever noticed someone who says that don't already have a big presence on YouTube, Twitch, or whatever website? It's not that I'm jealous, I'm just pointing it out, and the fact that they're lying to everyone's faces. Because I guarantee you, they would not all still be making videos if they did not already have an established fan base or whatever you want to call it. YouTube knows that, Google knows that, and that is why they are messing with the content creator and the viewer dynamics so much like they have been lately. Anyone they don't like, that's it. They're gonna mess with them in every way possible they can get away with. Speaking of content creators, please also send some love to the people that I'm showing on your screen about now. A lot of these people need your support, and I'm pretty sure a load of them probably deserve it more than I do as well. So anyway, let's get moving on to the main point of this video. Let's get the negative stuff out of the way first, folks, because I'm sure you'd rather have this video end on a high note. I won't lie, it seems like every time I make a new update video now, I feel a little more dead inside and paranoid about what I can and can't say than the last one. And in a weird way, it reminds me of how I felt back before I was using the internet, which was 18 years ago now? Jesus Christ. I've watched so much talent come and go over the years. First on Newgrounds, then DeviantArt, before everything being moved over to the YouTube platform. And over time, a lot of their fates getting more and more affected by who Google decides that they, for the lack of a better word, decide they want to be their friends and look after. That should not be YouTube's decision, unless it was obvious things, like, say, a torture video, just for example. Yeah, obviously you want to moderate things like that. But when it comes to what people do and don't want to see, that should be purely down to the audience. Not what Google decides it does or doesn't want to promote. But that is the way YouTube is now. It was once a naive website, but once Google bought it, its culture and its future direction changed pretty much overnight. We kept complaining about every single change. Google and YouTube almost always refused to comment on the situation, and yet we're still here. It's only now, when things are getting pretty dire, that we're finally starting to get some quite decent alternatives to YouTube. Not 100% replacements, mind you. They've got years of work to catch up on, but at least they exist. More and more over the years, corporations and governments have got involved online, and then, I guess for the lack of a better word, normies or noobs or whatever you want to call them, began to also clash with what's got to be over 20 years of internet culture now. Expecting the entire internet landscape to bend and change to think in the same way as they do, and their values and all this sort of thing, and just making the internet a much more boring, closed-minded place. It really shows the power of people in numbers, because if it wasn't for smart devices opening the net to so many new people, I wonder if websites like Twitter and especially Facebook would even still be around now, or if they'd just be another MySpace. Just this huge influx of vulnerable people who don't know technology that well. They need technology to make most of the decisions for them. They don't know any better. They're being taken advantage of by these companies who are creating monopolies and sly anti-competition tactics, like the way they intimidated VidMe into silence, or the way they boycotted Gab.ai, which was going to be a Twitter replacement. Gab has that reputation now of being an extremist website, and it's probably never going to shake it off now, because these are like the sly tactics people are using now. And this is all while in the meanwhile, the real world, the law, is trying to catch up with all this. Trying to figure out what the hell is going on and being like, you sir are a piece of shit. That is now illegal. You stop that, or you're going to get fined until, well, forever. I don't know. Now more than ever, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, I implore you, if you want to learn about anything on the internet, be it video games, movies, technology, news, God forbid, politics, or whatever, I strongly suggest you get as many different opinions and sources to look at as you can. Why? Because each opinion contains some little nugget of the truth, but rarely the whole truth. And it's only when you put all these little nuggets of information from lots of different people and sources together that you get the true picture about the good and bad about pretty much any subject. Be it video games, movies, politics, life, whatever. As the future of YouTube and a lot of its users are in danger, I've seen a lot of intellectuals suddenly comparing YouTube now to the invention of the printing press. And to briefly explain what the printing press was, that was the world-changing invention which made books endlessly easier to make in mass quantities and for anyone to get hold of. And why is that important? I'm guessing at least some of you are asking. Well, it's because before the printing press, the only people who had access to books were the rich and churches. Let that sink in. Yeah, there are people who can't read even now, but we're surrounded by books. It's just like a normal thing to us now. There was a time when we didn't even have that. Only the elite had access to this kind of information. And there's this comparison being made now that YouTube and similar websites which are popping up now, in a lot of ways, is almost like the new printing press. Just like a video and a sound version of the printing press. There are millions of creators now, instead of what was once thousands, who can now create whatever they choose. The people at governments, companies, you name it, used to be in charge of this, almost like gatekeepers. That was what, in a way, that was what TV and movies were. There was a kind of gatekeeper sort of thing to it of, we won't let certain things through. But this whole YouTube thing has broken the gates, and they don't like that people can do and say what they want. It's most of the reason why all of this YouTube drama and purging is happening. And honestly, if you put all your hopes and dreams on YouTube at this point, I'm sorry, but you're a fool. Because YouTube doesn't care about anyone anymore who doesn't already make them a lot of money. I'm talking like YouTube elites. Or if you have a fat wallet, which basically just means seriously successful entrepreneurs, huge companies, you get the idea, old media. So why am I bringing all this up when this video is supposed to be about what I'm doing? Because, ladies and gentlemen, those corporations, and to a less extent the government, with Google, are in the process of trying to take over the internet and make it as boring as TV. It's a future where people like me don't get to keep the internet voice I once had, unless I get lucky or I plead like some kind of victim. They're hoping to, once again, like the old days, tell you what to think, what to want, what to feel, and what to do. A lot of internet culture doesn't fit into any of those expectations. It's all about free thinking, see all the different opinions, bunch them all together, and then make up your own mind based on that, now that you've seen both sides of the coin. Pretty much ever since the invention of the iPhone, this has been a growing, continuing war of words between reality and the internet for some time now. They both have some merits, neither of them are 100% right, and this fight is still in progress. I mean, here's a sort of weird example. Does anyone remember Adobe Flash? Because that was the biggest thing before video sites like YouTube became so much easier to use. It's an important bit of internet history, but I swear nobody cares about that now. It made things like, oh no, my smart device, my iPhone and my iPad, it crashed, boo-hoo. So because of that, Flash wasn't worked on to improve it, and it's slowly not just become not used anymore, but people are acting like it doesn't even matter anymore, being completely forgotten about, when it's such an important piece of internet history, and it's actually helped a lot of creators become really talented people. I could go into detail more about some of these dirty tactics companies are using to take over the internet, but there are plenty of videos, in fact channels, dedicated already to this topic. I don't want to be political. I don't want my channel to be political now, or have I ever. But here's the thing. With all the hysteria going on right now, everyone keeps making everything fucking political. I've noticed it from about the first time when Gamergate happened, and I'm sick of it. I've lost close to 100 social media connections, some of which were really important to me, and some of them even family, just for telling people the truth. Which is why I've got nearly no time for this drama anymore. Doesn't matter how right or wrong I am, it seems like the most popular connected people win arguments, and it's fucked up. Like kids in a school playground fucked up, because apparently we haven't grown up. Sadly, this has also affected the future of another channel that I was working on by the name of Hammerspace Gaming, which, to put it politely, has had creative differences. Okay, creative is not the word, but I'm not talking about it on here. Let's just say it's turned out a little bit like Normal Boots did, if you're familiar with that at all. I still want to make it a thing, I still want it to be a group of people, but at the moment it's a bit difficult to choose members for that at this moment in time. Like a lot of people on YouTube right now, most of my content has turned to Twitch live streams. I also stream at the same time on YouTube, but I'd really appreciate it if you'd watch on Twitch rather than YouTube, guys. I know their website's not great, but it's getting better. And plus, it's just to spite YouTube a little bit, because they need to understand they need us, not the other way around. Twitch streaming's been an interesting, sometimes wild ride, and it's probably the most successful video content I've ever done, if I'm honest. But I can't help feeling guilty every time I miss a chat message, or every time a new viewer catches me in quiet, deep concentration, or every time they catch me raging on stream, or tired and not very talkative, and then they just assume I'm like that all the time. I hate all of that stuff. And it's just, I'm human. It happens sometimes. Especially on a live platform where from the moment you turn it on, that's it. Yes, they see everything near enough. Oh, and the worst part is how I have literally hundreds of hours of unedited videos I don't know what to do with. It really should have something done with it, but that's a full-time job amount of work, just sorting through all of that and making something digestible and entertaining for people to watch. I could upload raw videos to YouTube, but I mostly try to avoid that for one simple reason, which is that I respect your time. Yeah, I know I've been doing that with Dark Souls, but I know there's been demand for me to do that, which is why I've just done that at this point in time. I would like to make a more edited, highlighted version of the Dark Souls streams, but we'll see if we can get around to doing that. I never started any of my creating online, let alone YouTube, because I cared about the money. It was just one guy thinking he was a fuck up, trying to prove all the haters throughout the years of his life they were wrong about him. And better yet, somehow inspiring and entertaining some of you guys too in the process. But that was before money became a problem, and somehow then the internet became more like real life, where I was being lectured a bit too much on what I can and can't do. And normally, this is the part where the person talking to you on the video plugs a Patreon account that they've set up and be like, oh, please support me. But I'm not going to do that. Not until I know what I want going forward and what you guys want for content. And more importantly, you're getting it. Once we reach that point, I'll then even consider setting up a Patreon. But at this point, no. There is a Twitch thing for donations, but that's just part of the affiliate thing. But when it comes to streaming in general, I would say Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 in particular has been really, really successful. It was just an innocent stream, me returning to an old game, because I was just like, oh, I haven't played this for a while, I guess I should finish it off. And then next thing I know, boom. So many people, it's blown my mind. I've made countless new friends, and also I rekindled some of my old friendships as well. All of which is something I'm tempted to make into kind of video blogs or highlights or something about, but well, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments, folks, if you want to see that. I've made the mistake in the past of making videos saying I was going to do X, Y, and Z, but I'm not going to do that anymore. I might tell you ideas for videos I have, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to make them. It's all wait and see how things go, kind of dealing. From what I can gather, you guys definitely seem to prefer the highlight videos and me just talking in general kind of like this, so maybe we need more of that going forward. Let's see where that takes us. It's pretty cliche, but I also have some top 10 video ideas I've been pondering over. More VR chat highlights, because that's got to be one of the most weird and wonderful things I've ever played, and other projects? Well, I have a big backlog of footage to sort through at this point, so I should probably deal with that first, just before I even think about new stuff. I'm talking like hundreds of gigs of video footage to sort through. I've learnt a lot of things since the start of YouTube and now, and right now, how to say it, There's kind of a personality struggle within me at the moment, I guess is a way to put it. There's an old emo side of me, a reckless dreamer, and a super smart side of me, all trying to find a balance right now in this crazy world we're living in. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I do know when I do find a balance, I'll feel a lot better than I have been lately, and hopefully everything I do should improve as a result of that. Now, if you'll excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, but I'm off to work on that final report I'm doing on Doki Doki Literature Club. I've lost count of the amount of times I've changed the script for that video I've been working on, and at this point, I just want it to get out of my head, 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 get out of my head. Why do I suddenly have an urge to find a rope?